Hey guys, welcome to a brand new episode of TENPlusS1E9. Today, I'm your host and my name is Miss Fidelis. We're going to actor Apeh to talk about good name versus big name. Now, that sounds as basic as it gets, yeah? In fact, sounds like something that's cookie to debate over. But trust me, the details to this that we have missed and you don't want to keep missing. So don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and turn on your post notifications. You know the drill now. Don't go anywhere, we're going to be right back after this short break. Welcome back, guys. Before the break, I promised to have actor Apeh here with me to talk about good name versus big name. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, sir. So, good name versus big name. I said it in my intro. It sounds very basic, but we're going to talk about different things that are involved in this. But before we jump into the boat, let's first establish a plain difference between a good name and a big name.
Okay, they're basic, all right? So it comes down to two things: value and volume. Value and volume. So it's if someone bakes you a bad cake, you wouldn't want more of it, right?
Definitely.
Yeah,
not.
but if someone bakes you a good cake, you will crave for more of that. So a good cake is the value, the more cakes is the volume. So a good name is a name that represents value, essence, and honor. A good name, be it a brand name or a personal name. It must have a sense of value. It must have a sense of honor. It must have essence to the name. So a good name is a name with value, essence, and honor. A big name, on the other hand, is basically speaking of volume, of size. And I wouldn't say there's anything wrong with either of them. A good name is something that we should have, and it is good that good names are big. But the emphasis is not to run after a big name at the expense of a good name.
Okay. So, why do I need a name? First of all, how do I get a name? Then, why do I even need to get a name? Because I could just be messy. It doesn't have to be good or bad. What's the importance of having that attachment to it?
Yeah, so there are many things to that. Number one is legacy. Number two is goodwill. Number three is the kind of visibility that you're attracting. There's a reason why we buy certain things that we buy. We buy them, number one, because they are good. They are good products. Number two, because they are visible. So this is what I usually say when it comes to business. A good product will have your customers patronize you. A good service will have your customers keep coming back. You see, but the common denominator there is good. Good product, good service. So when you bring that to personal branding, it's the same thing. We don't always call the most competent, but we call the person that is easiest to work with, the one that is compatible, the one that has some sense of respect and honor. There are a lot of people that are very competent, but very rude, very uncomely, very unapproachable. But they are very competent, but nobody's calling them. All right? So it's important to develop a good name. And let me say this, competence also forms the fabrics of the good name. So don't think because you are a nice guy. Good name in this context is not about being nice as a person. Even when it comes to a product, it's not just about a product that looks nice. That's why we say it must begin with value. And that value must give birth to essence and must give birth to honor. So for a person, if a person has a nasty attitude, you won't call them. If a person is very nice but very incompetent as well, you won't call them. So to have a good name, you must have a reputation for competence, for value, for honor and essence. Yeah.
Okay, so why do I need a name, a good name, or a big name?
Because of relevance. That's the key word there. So, see, everybody is striving for relevance, whether you know it or you don't know it. The reason why many big brands are on TV isn't because of just making more money. Many of these brands that we see on TV are worth billions and billions of dollars, like Coca-Cola, like Samsung, like Apple. But they are always on your face. They are always on the screen in your face. The reason why they are always in your face is because they want to create a sense of relevance. They want to be relevant at every single time, or at least appear to be relevant. So if you don't have a good name, you lose relevance. You lose relevance, and life is very stale when a person lacks relevance and significance, or what we call importance. So the reason why we need a good name is for relevance, to be relevant and remain relevant, not to be liked. It's good to be liked. It's essential to be liked, because who likes you matters. Many people may say things like, I don't care who likes me, I don't care, God is on my side. Yeah, God may be on your side, but if everybody else is against you, God can't do much for you, because God's always going to use men to bless you. So it's important who likes you. It's also important who hates you. Okay? Everybody mustn't like you, but if everybody hates you, there's a problem. Okay? But building a good name, investing in a good name, it's not just about having a name that is liked. It's having a name that is relevant. And that relevance is where you find legacy. So some people have been dead for many years, like Mandela. But even today, they are still relevant because they have a good name. Martin Luther King has been dead, but he's still relevant. In fact, many of them became more powerful after they died. You see, because they invested in a good name. You don't care so much about how much Mandela has. You don't care so much about how much Martin Luther has. You don't care so much about their net worth. But their names have become timeless because they are invested painfully in building a good name that has value, essence, and honor.
So I want to ask a very quick question. I already know the answer to it, but let me see ask it.
Okay.
So is a good name bigger than a big name?
Or better
Better
than a good name? Is a good name better than a big
name?
That's a very tricky question. Is a good name better than a big name? Final answer, I'll call a friend.
Final answer.
Okay, so it's very dangerous to put one above the other. But I can be bold to put one before the other. So I won't say that a good name is better than a big name. I would say that a good name should come before a big name. Okay. So I don't think it's about one over the other. I think it's about the sequencing. All right, it's the hierarchy. Is it the hierarchy now? Or the sequence, the arrangement, which comes before the other. And I think that a good name must always come before a big name. I gave you an example. You start with a good cake before you say you want to have more cake. So a good cake always should come before having more cake. Yeah.
So let me ask you a very tricky question. I'm sure my people...
Another tricky question.
Another tricky question. Now, I'm sure many of you want to hear the answer to. So when I'm building a business brand, which do I go for? A good name, for the integrity of the business, or a big name for the connections attached to a big name?
Yeah, so the question is easier this time because you asked which should come first. So which should come first is obvious. A good name.
Good name.
Like I said, good product will have somebody buy you. Good service will have somebody keep coming back. It's them coming back that leads to you becoming bigger. If you have a good product and people come and buy you once and they don't come back, you can't grow big. Your size is determined by how much of them comes back and how much of them is bold enough to refer you to their friends or refer their friends to you. Okay, but if you don't have a good product and good service, if you don't have a good name or good character or good personality or a likable personality, they won't come back to you. And if they don't come back to you, I mean, you can't really become big, except you are a criminal. If you're a criminal, you don't need a good name to become big. You see? So a criminal doesn't have value. Crime has no true essence. Crime has no honor. But with crime, you can become big without being good. But it's short-lived. There's no legacy. You see? But if you truly want to build a legacy, then you should focus first on having a good business. Then you can focus on having a big business.
Alright guys, so as usual, Apeh is giving us bad booze. But let's take a short break to cool down before we come back for more. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back guys, thank you for sticking with us. Before we went on the break, we're talking about good name versus big name with actor Apeh. So, sir, let me ask you, when you already have a good name, I mean, a good name isn't a very, permit me to say, it's not a very difficult thing to get. It's all a personal thing. So when you already have a good name or a good brand name, but you don't have a big name, and you need that big name, what's the next step to take?
Yeah, so I think that a good name is hard to get. I think a good name is hard.
It's hard?
Yeah, it's hard to get.
Because people just claim it.
Yeah, you see.
If you ask me, good name or good name?
No, yeah, you see, because to develop the structure to provide good services or good business, speaking about enterprise, or to develop the character, the patience. You see, because, listen, it's tough to be good. I'm telling you, it's actually easier to be nasty. Being in your person or in your business, it's just easier to be nasty.
Yeah.
But when it comes to being good, it takes a lot of effort. You see, you don't become good on the premise of receiving good. So let's come to our personal lives. You could have a nasty boss and you will still have to be good.
Yeah.
And you know it's not easy to be good when your boss is nasty. It's not easy to be good when your boss does not appreciate your sacrifice. It's not easy to be good when you have team members that don't know how to appreciate you. It doesn't feel rewarding to be good when every other person isn't making any efforts to be good. So it does take a lot of efforts to be good. It takes a lot of time to be good. It is painful to be good. All right. So just clarify that it takes time to be. It takes time to build character. It takes time to just do right for right. Just do the right thing just because it's right. And in business, see, many years ago, I had a job with the government, my very first job with the government. And, there was a temptation by certain people within a circle to compromise on the quality of work that we could do to help us secure more profits. All right. And I was a young fellow. And that would have been pretty cool. All right.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah. But see, I had to still give in to the highest standards. It cost me a lot of money to do so. It meant that we were going home with, far less profit, but it was the right thing to do. It was me trying to invest in a good name to make sure that we have something that can be probed by anyone. And just by the first glance, you can tell that these guys have integrity and they know what they're doing. All right. So coming to living a life that appears to be good is going to cost you. Okay. So, but once you've achieved that, it's also important to be visible. Because if you keep doing good in obscurity, you won't be rewarded, really. I'm telling you the truth, So you may be rewarded in heaven, but not on earth. Okay? Yeah, so it's important that you have the reward come to you from both places, if you can afford it. If you can get rewarded in heaven, you should be. If you can get extra reward on earth here, you should be. And the reward on earth here comes from visibility. And the smaller you are, the more difficult it is to see you. The bigger you are, the easier it is to see you. And that element of size sometimes may be in the form of appearance. Even when you are not essentially big, you need to appear big. You need to be loud. You need to be visible. So every business and every name should strive for that good name. And when you've achieved that to whatever degree, then you should strive for a big name. It's not bad to be big. And if the truth is that there are big entities in the world, whether in light or in darkness, it doesn't matter. But there are things that are big. True or true? Yeah.
True.
Yeah. So if things are big, won't it be great that we have more good big things than bad big things? So if we say just be good, don't pursue size. Even if you are small, you're okay. That's a good message. Okay. But if all good things are small, there is a problem.
Yes, definitely.
It means that the world can't be good. But if all good things become big, then we can have a better world. So I think that's important to also strive for visibility and for size and for volume.
I'm actually happy you said that, because some people will be like, the good name isn't paying the bills. Let me go on. But now that you've said that, at least it has made a clear point that maybe you're doing something wrong. Maybe you're not putting yourself out there. Maybe you're not visible enough. So put yourself out there, guys, so that your good name will start paying the bills for you. So, Apeh, let me ask you one other question before we leave. If I already have a big name and the big name isn't good, but I mean it's a big name, so everybody knows that name, but I need a good name, what am I going to do?
Go back to the basics.
Then lose the big name?
Yeah, I mean, you don't essentially need to lose the big name. So let's look at it from two scenarios. Let's look at it as a person and as a product. So you are known everywhere across Nigeria. But imagine if that person who is known across Nigeria is known for a bad thing. They know him as a gangster, or they know him or her as a promiscuous person, and he or she is already out there for that bad name, and somehow he or she wants to rebrand. He or she will need to go back to the basics, start from the foundation, begin to lay blocks. You don't have to discard the popularity. Just begin to build new foundations, even in the popularity. Or you have a product out there that has been known for a lot of complaints. In some cases, in the actual, commercial world, sometimes they have to rebrand completely and even change their names. Yeah. But the whole facility, the whole structure is the same company, but they just change their product name to have like a re-enter into that space. And in some other cases, they keep their names and they just start doing rebranding. Okay, there are certain brands that have gone, out of the scene, not necessarily because they are bad, but maybe because they are not catching up with, the trends. Yeah. Okay, and then like bam, like was it Kodak camera? They were out of the scene for quite a while because all they did was camera, and then bam, they came out with a phone, or something. So that's like them trying to re-enter. And I think Nokia had the same kind of problem at some point, not because they were bad, but because somehow they were not probably matching up with the other guys on the scene. So there are many things you can do to re-enter your space. Okay, you might need to rebrand, you might need to evolve, you might need to reinvent. Okay, but it is possible to rebrand yourself even after you've attained bad popularity.
It's a cost you the big name though.
Yeah, you still going to have to pay a price. Okay, I don't think that it will. That element already has a big name for a bad thing. Okay, the goal here now is to have a big name for a good thing. That product or that person will just need to do a lot of foundational work. Okay, it's going to be tedious. So that's why I say you have to go back to the basics. You can't do any shortcuts. A good name is a good name, period. And you can't really attain any sustainable good name until you have value, essence, and honor. And that is achievable at any point. It's more complicated to do that when you're already big, because sometimes even your motives can be misunderstood and your credibility can be tarnished for a very long time. So even when a bad person tries to become good, it's just like you have someone who's known to be a thief, and then suddenly he changes and offers to come and stay in your house. However liberal you are, there's this caution.
Yes.
You just tell your sister, please, I beg, lock that drawer. When you come out, lock the drawer. When you are going out, please lock the door. Not because he's still a thief, but that bad name hasn't been washed off completely. He's reformed, but the name is still out there. So it's going to take time.
Yeah.
So if you expect everybody to just think that he's suddenly a saint overnight, he's also been unfair to his previous investments in a bad name. So it's going to take him time to have that reset happen for him. And both the person who's trying to achieve a brand name must be patient to ensure that he can really establish his new identity with honor, with value, and with essence.
Okay, so we've talked extensively on good name, big name, bad name. Where is the balance? Is it good name and a big name?
I think the balance is the sequence. The thing is that our society is designed in a way that we see big before we see good. You see? So you can't really blame our young people and, everyone, because everything that we see on our TV, on the media, somehow celebrates big before it celebrates good. You see? So somehow we are more drawn to becoming first big before we start thinking about becoming good. You see? So I think the real issue is the sequence. The priority must be to have a good name first. Have value, have essence, have honor. And then when you've achieved that, then you go after becoming big. There's nothing wrong with going after. We are designed to be big. We are designed to be big. It doesn't mean you need to be on TV. It doesn't mean you have to be on the billboards. But you can be big in many other ways. You can be big for just doing the right thing. And everybody knows that if you want the right thing done, call mercy. That's also being big. Being big doesn't mean you have so much money. It just means that there is volume to your value.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So hope we've been able to convince you and not confuse you that you can go after both a big name and a good name, but go after a good name first. Sorry, but we're out of time and we'll have to go. So don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and turn on your post notifications to catch us when we upload a new episode. Thanks so much for staying with us, guys. Bye.